If you've ever shopped for insurance, home, auto, anything, you've probably wondered whether there's a better way to do it. You go online, you get a quote from one company, then another, then another. Each website asks you the same 40 questions. You're comparing prices, but the quotes don't show the same coverages at the same limits. So you're not really comparing anything. And nobody's looking at the full picture. Nobody's asking whether your home coverage and your auto coverage actually work together, or whether you have a gap that could cost you everything. That's what an insurance broker can do for you. My name is Jim Eddington. I run an independent insurance agency called Western Pacific Insurance. In our industry, the technical term is independent agent or independent agency, but most people know the word broker. So that's what I'm going to use in this video. An insurance broker is someone who works with multiple insurance carriers, not just one. We're not employees of any single insurance company. We're licensed professionals who work on your behalf to find the best coverage across a range of carriers. At our agency, we work with carriers like Safeco, Travelers, Progressive, Mercury, Openly, Stillwater, and several more. That gives us over a dozen carriers we can quote on your behalf. And through our network, we can access even more when we need to. A captive agent, on the other hand, works for one company. They can only sell that company's products. If their one carrier doesn't have a competitive rate for your situation or doesn't offer a coverage you need, they really can't go anywhere else. They're limited to what's on the shelf. And if that carrier raises your rate at renewal, your captive agent has no leverage. They can't threaten to move your business because they have nowhere to move it to. With a direct carrier, the ones you see advertising online, you've got no agent at all. You're on your own. You pick your coverages, you set your limits, and you hope you got it right. There's nobody reviewing your full picture. There's nobody calling you when something changes in the market that could save you money or when a new endorsement becomes available that you should know about. Here's where it gets real. I had a client come to us, a real estate investor with multiple single-family rentals. He had his auto insurance with one carrier, his rental property policies spread across others. His captive agent wasn't able to put together an umbrella policy that worked properly across that split coverage. So this investor, someone with serious liability exposure from tenants, from properties, from vehicles, was walking around with no umbrella. Think about that for a second. A tenant slips on a staircase, a visitor gets bitten by a dog at one of the rentals, a car accident where the damages exceed his auto limits. Any one of those scenarios, and his personal assets are exposed. His savings, his investment properties, his retirement, all of it. We were able to place an umbrella that works even when the underlying coverage is split across carriers. We did need to adjust some underlying limits to make it work, but the cost to do that was minimal. The protection it provided was enormous. That's the kind of gap that happens when nobody's looking at the full picture. And that's what a broker does. We look at everything. Your home, your auto, your umbrella, your rental properties, your life insurance. We coordinate all of it so nothing falls through the cracks. Let me be honest with you, an insurance broker isn't always going to beat every direct carrier on price. Sometimes an online quote will come in a few dollars cheaper on one policy, but price isn't the same as value. Value is making sure your auto liability limits actually support your umbrella. Value is making sure your homeowner's policy has the right endorsements, not just the cheapest premium. Value is having someone who knows your full situation and can adjust when things change. Value is knowing that when one carrier raises your rate, your broker can move that policy to another carrier without you having to start the whole process over again. When you shop on your own, you're comparing prices in a vacuum. You might put your cars with one company and your home with another because each one was cheapest individually. But nobody checked whether those policies work together, whether your liability limits support an umbrella, or whether you need flood coverage or an endorsement for that home office you just built. And here's something people don't realize. More often than not, we can get everything placed with one carrier anyway. In that case, you get a multi-policy discount, everything's coordinated, one bill, one renewed cycle. But when one carrier isn't the best fit across the board, We have the ability to split your coverage across 2 or 3 carriers to get you the best value on each policy. A captive agent can't really do that. A direct carrier definitely can't do that. A broker does all of that. We look at the whole household. Shopping insurance on your own takes hours. You're filling out the same information on different websites, comparing quotes that don't always show the same coverages at the same limits, and trying to figure out which one is actually the best deal. A broker does that work for you. You give us your information once. We run it across multiple carriers and come back with options that are already apples to apples. Same limits, same deductibles, comparable coverages, so you can make a real comparison. That's time you get back. And when your policies come up for renewal, we review your coverage and reshop it when it makes sense. You don't have to start over every year. When you buy direct online, your customer service experience is a phone tree or a chatbot. When you have a question about your policy or you need to make a change, you're waiting on hold or typing into a text box. And you're talking to someone who's never spoken to you before and doesn't know anything about your situation. When you work with a broker, you get a live person who knows your account. You call our office, someone picks up the phone, you have a claim, we help you through it. We advocate for your interests with the carrier because our job is to make sure you're taken care of, not just to close a file. That advocacy piece matters more than people realize. When a claim gets complicated, when there's a coverage question, when the adjuster's estimate comes in low, when you're not sure what your policy actually covers, your broker already knows your account and can help push the process forward. You're not explaining your situation from scratch to a call center rep who's never heard of you. People ask us this all the time: is there a fee to use a broker? For standard market policies, your home, your auto, your umbrella, there's no brokerage fee. We're compensated through standard commissions from the carrier, just like a captive agent is. You're not paying extra to work with us. You're getting more options and more expertise at the same cost structure. Here's something most people don't think about. The big direct carriers, the ones running ads during every football game, most of them don't sell life insurance at all. If you go direct for auto and home, you still need to find a separate agent or company for life insurance. That means another relationship, another person who sees part of your risk profile, and no coordination between your property coverage and your life coverage. An independent agency can handle all of it. We write property and casualty, and we write life insurance. That means one agency is looking at your full risk profile, your home, your cars, your liability, and your life insurance needs. Everything under one roof, coordinated by someone who understands your whole situation. If you have a growing family and you just bought a house, we're not just quoting your homeowner's policy. We're also making sure you have enough term life to cover that mortgage if something happens to you. I want to be fair. There are things a captive agent does well. They know their one company's products inside and out. They often have strong local brand recognition. And some captive carriers offer solid products at competitive prices. I'm not here to say they're bad. What I am saying is that an independent broker gives you more options, more carriers, more flexibility, and someone whose job it is to find the best fit for you, not to sell you one company's product. If you want to see what working with an independent agency looks like, click the link below. It takes 2 minutes. We'll review your current coverage, run quotes across our carriers, and show you exactly what you're paying for and what you might be missing. No pressure, no obligation. Thanks for watching.